I cannot conceive of any circumstances where I would agree to do that. We don't know yet how many special forces might be needed, how many trainers and surveillance and enablers might be needed. But in terms of thousands of combat troops, like some on the Republican side are recommending, I think that should be a non-starter.
Hillary Clinton there talking to CBS earlier today about her strategy against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. She says, as you heard, troops a non-starter. Polls suggest, though, Americans are still uneasy about Clinton's presidential candidacy. And on Monday, the State Department also released the largest batch of her emails to date, bringing the number of emails marked classified now up to close to 1,000. And joining us right now, Congressman Brian Babin of Texas. Congressman Babin serves as a member of both the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology and the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. It's good to have you with us, sir.
Thank you, John. Good to be with you.
It's a pleasure. We're going to start talking about Hillary Clinton a little bit. The Hill has a story out today that FBI Director James Comey could still ask for her indictment. Do you think this is likely, and would your House Republican colleagues support this decision?
Well, you know what? Everything is pointing, John, to the lady's guilt. I mean, everybody gets their day in court. However, as she dribbles these things out over and over again and tells us one thing and we find out it's not true, you know, I have met Mr. Comey one time. I don't know the man well, but I understand that he's an honest fellow and wants to do his job. No, it would not be surprising if Hillary didn't wind up getting an indictment. And as to whether the Republican Party would support that, all I can tell you is if the evidence points to that in that direction, I think that the Republican Party would definitely support that. We want to see justice done.
Now,
and we've
let
got
me ask you this:
dead great Americans, and we want to find out about the truth. And these emails will lead us to that truth.
Some of the reporting has indicated now there are about 1,000 emails that may have contained some sort of classified information. I wanted to get your reaction to that large number.
It's just incredible. I mean, she said over and over again that she didn't do anything wrong, that there was no classified information in these, and they keep dribbling out. Now we're pushing 1,000 of them, and it's just unbelievable that she expects the American people to believe that what she's doing was proper. And I think it all points to the fact that do we really want to have someone serving as our president and serving in the White House that has this much baggage and corruption that surrounds them? And all I can tell you is this, that she was serving as Secretary of State. And the very fact that she was part of the Obama team that had this foreign policy that has given us this terrible foreign policy situation and crisis with all these refugees swarming
Congressman, it is going to be hard for her
Europe.
to divorce herself from the Obama foreign policy, and we'll see what that does to her out on the campaign trail. Another hot-button topic, a lot of Americans concerned about the Syrian refugee crisis. 2016 presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson was on the Today Show earlier today and expressed his concerns about the program. Let's take a listen.
Bringing them into this country does not solve the problem, and it exposes us to danger. You know, ISIS has already said that if we bring tens of thousands of people here, they will infiltrate them with their people.
Do you agree with Dr. Carson? Do you share his concerns?
I could not agree more. I have been, believe me, I've been a voice in the wilderness on this issue. I dropped a bill on July the 31st. Called the Resettlement, Accountability, and National Security Act to try to stop this program until we can do assessments of the cost and the national security risks. And it was long before what we saw happen in Paris. And now one of the terrorists in Paris has turned out to be a Syrian refugee that came through Greece. It goes without saying that ISIS is pledged to exploit this program, our refugee program, and they have. And I don't believe that the American people want to see that happen in the United States. And I could not agree more with what Dr. Carson said.
All right, I wanted to ask you one more question. We have about a minute left to go, and there are still talks. Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy has talked about the unlikelihood that there's going to be a government shutdown in terms of relates to Planned Parenthood and other funding concerns at this point. What's your take? Are we going to see a government shutdown or no?
I couldn't say one way or the other. Now, when it comes to Planned Parenthood, but I will say this: I have a letter circulating right now, and actually, we've turned the letter over after 74 of my colleagues signed it, urging the Speaker of the House and the Appropriations Chairman to put some language into the spending bill in a couple of weeks that would stop this refugee program. And I'm still hoping to get that done. It's a huge issue with the American people out there. We do not want
Certainly, sir.
Radical Islamic terrorism in the country.
Certainly not. We'll see where it goes from there. Thanks for being with us today, Congressman Brian Babin.
You bet. Thank you.
Stay with us. More to come. The European Union and Israel at odds. We'll talk about that with Alan Dershowitz next.